Today we are doing a Google Autofill video. Today's topic is Do Dragons. So if you are unfamiliar with a Google Autofill game, then Google Autofill is basically type in a certain set of words into the like a question into the Google bar, and then you go through every letter of the alphabet, and I try to answer each of those words. Each of those questions. So yeah, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So here we go. A. Do dragons actually exist? Of course, dragons actually exist. I mean, the number of things that talk about dragons actually existing and things like, hey, have you heard about the Loch Ness Monster? What do you think that is? A dragon? Yes, it's a dragon, or at least a sea serpent, or something like that. And dragons exist. If they don't exist anymore, they did at one time. I firmly believe that they at least existed at one point. So yes, dragons exist. Do dragons breathe fire? Yes, they breathe fire if they're fire-breathing dragons. If they're not fire-breathing dragons, then they don't breathe fire. Pretty straightforward. Do dragons come back in Game of Thrones? I don't know. Do dragons count as animals in Skyrim? I wouldn't count them as animals. I don't think so. So, no. C, D. Do dragons disappear after killing Alduin? That's referring to Skyrim again. No, they do not. After Alduin is defeated, the major threat is gone, but dragons still exist. He apparently managed to resurrect thousands of them. And it's also liable that I don't know if this is ever said in the game, but I wouldn't be surprised if some dragons might be able to resurrect each other too. So dragons are still around, and Dovahkiin still has dragons to fight. Though after Alduin is slain, Paarthurnax does become the leader, does start leading some of the dragons, and so not all the dragons are evil anymore. So yeah, there's that. Do dragons eat gold? I've read that in some books. I've pondered the idea of having dragons eat gold or other minerals and stuff. In my stuff, they don't. They do eat certain things for help with their powers and other things, but they don't eat gold generally. But often they do eat precious metals and gems and stuff in books and movies and games and stuff I've come across. So I would say depends on your universe. E, F. Do dragons fly? Well, yes, dragons fly if they have wings. If they don't have, well, actually, dragons fly, yes, if they have all the bells and whistles to fly. It's not just enough to have wings to fly. I mean, and I think it's rather ridiculous that sometimes they have Chinese dragons that don't have wings but can still fly. It's like magic, wee! It's ridiculous. I don't really like that at all. And then if you have dragons who are like, yeah, we're a dragon, we have wings, we can fly, but our wings are like smaller than our actual body. That makes no sense. So the wings have to be a substantial size, and there's probably some stuff about like the actual weight of the dragon itself, like are its bones hollow? Is there something about its mass that makes it actually lighter than a normal creature, or so on and so forth? Is it very scantily clad so it's not fat and not heavy? Because you don't want fat dragons. It's ridiculous. So I think dragons can fly, yes, if they have all the proper bells and whistles. Mainly if they have enormous wings. Small wings, they're not going to fly. And having magic as an explanation for flying, I think is just a kind of lame, boring cop-out. So, yeah. G. Do dragons go into heat? Well, I think it's kind of general in a lot of stuff. The dragons can survive at least small degrees of heat. Like basic fire breathing, I don't think is an issue for them. However, if you have dragons who can like burn down castles, like with like lava basically, breath, their fire breath is the equivalent of lava, then I think then there could be an issue for even the most toughest of dragons. And also, as we see in How to Train Your Dragon, dragons are not as fireproof on the inside as they are on the outside. And if I'm correct, I think water dragons aren't very fireproof either, but I'm not sure. Anyways, so do dragons have ears? You know, this is actually an interesting thing because like I've struggled with this over several different stuff. Like I like dragons having um, fin ears. I've done that several times in my drawings and stuff. I'm kind of drawing back a little bit on that. Haha, drawing. No pun intended. Um, but I'm still doing it a little bit. Then the other side, like the other way of doing it is like having them like normal ears, like look more like a cat's or something like that, which can turn out cool, but otherwise it turns kind of lame. So I don't know. Yes, dragons do have ears. You just have to draw them right, otherwise they look ridiculous. You don't want dragons to have ridiculous anything. So yeah. Do dragons in Skyrim respawn? Um, I don't know what you mean by that question. Uh, there are lots of dragons inhabiting the world. I guess they kind of respawn because, like, if you clear out a word wall, like a mountaintop where a dragon's hiding, you clear out. If you kill the dragon and clear out the word wall, and all the chests and everything, you come back in like 10 days. Literally, it's like 10 days. Then there'll be another dragon there, but the word wall will not be refreshed. It'll still be there. And I think sometimes the chests get refreshed. So dragons do come around, but as I tried to immerse myself in the games, I didn't think that a new dragon found a home there, not that a dragon respawned there. And you also do encounter wild dragons. So I don't think dragons really respawn in Skyrim. So I would say no. Okay, do Japanese dragons breathe fire? Um, Kind of embarrassing. I haven't done a lot of study on Japanese dragons. I've done some, but if I remember correctly, no, they don't. The dragons of Chinese and Japanese mythology. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not. I'm not an expert on these ones. Greek mythology, I probably can answer this easily. Because I do study that one a lot. So I mean no offense if I get this wrong, but I don't think Japanese dragons generally breathe fire, and Chinese dragons, because they're generally more like deities, and they like have powers over like the weather and the wind and the rain and the sea and stuff, and not really over fire as much. Um, they're often though thought as beneficial and stuff. I think some of them might be sun dragons or something like that, so there might be something there, but I don't. I would say no, no, they don't. So do dragons keep spawning in Skyrim? We already talked about this. Do dragons kill NPCs in Skyrim? Yes, it can be very annoying. Because you can lose entire quest lines. Most of the time, major ones don't die off, but it can happen, and that can make it very difficult to do any of the quests, if not impossible. Some of the quests, I mean. So, dragons lay eggs. I often have dragons lay eggs in my stuff. I have dragons lay eggs in my stuff, and I generally prefer them to lay eggs. Though I've read some cool books where like the dragons don't lay eggs and like have like live, um, live young like humans and mammals. And then Skyrim, I don't even know if dragons reproduce. Like, are there even female dragons in Skyrim? I haven't completely finished the game yet. Um, I don't think there's even female dragons in Skyrim. I kind of hope they reproduce because then, like in later games, we could see them again once in a while. Um, but I don't think they lay eggs in Skyrim because I think they were all made by the dragon god Akatosh at the beginning of time, which is really interesting. Like all the significations behind that because Akatosh is the god of time, but he's also the god of dragons, like he is a dragon. Which explains why dragons are immortal and stuff in the game, but you're getting off track. So, do dragons lay eggs? In some stuff, no, they don't. I think majorly they do. In Skyrim, they don't have children at all. So, yeah, in my stuff, if you're asking me, my stuff, dragons do lay eggs. So, do dragons molt? I forget what this word means. I'm gonna skip on. Do dragons mate for life? Well, in my stuff, dragons are sentient creatures, and so generally, yes, once they mate, aka, they do literally marry, like humans do. It is considered wrong for them to, they consider it wrong to leave that mate, unless the mate dies. So, um, I would say yes. And other stuff, I don't know. I've read stuff where they do mate for life, and then I've had other ones like Reign of Fire, which I really love that movie. But there's only one dragon who's a guy, and then all the other female dragons mate with him, and that's why they reproduce like so fast. But yeah, so for sentient dragons, I would say they should.